The picturesque town of Willow Grove, with its tree-lined streets, manicured lawns, and homes adorned with flower beds, is the kind of place where nothing bad ever happens. Or so everyone thought. Known for its annual garden competition, the town is a symbol of peace and prosperity, where the neighbors wave at each other from their porches and children play in the streets. But all of that is shattered when Lila Marston, the beloved florist of Willow Grove, vanishes without a trace. Lila had always been the heart of the town, her flower shop a place where locals gathered not just for bouquets, but for conversation and connection. She'd known every resident by name, offered advice on the best plants for any garden, and made every celebration just a little more special with her arrangements. Her shop was a burst of color, full of life and energy, but now that life is missing. It starts with a simple concern. Lila hasn't opened her shop, and no one has seen her around. Her absence is unusual, almost alarming. Her neighbor, Alice, a retired nurse, decides to check on her, walking the short distance between their homes. When Alice knocks on the door, there's no answer. The blinds are drawn, the house still. She checks around the side, but there's no sign of Lila. Her immediate thought is that something is wrong, maybe a fall or an illness. She calls out to her husband, Greg, and together they break into the back garden. The gate is unlocked. The garden is as pristine as ever, full of blooming roses, hydrangeas, and lavender. But there's something off. A flower pot has been knocked over, and its soil is scattered across the ground, leading toward the back of the house. But Lila is nowhere to be found. The trail of soil stops abruptly, as if the earth had swallowed her whole. A call to the police sends Detective Elaine Hartley to Willow Grove. Hartley, a seasoned investigator with a keen eye for detail, arrives in the quiet town with a sense of unease. There's something about Lila's disappearance that doesn't sit right. She's heard the rumors about Willow Grove, that it's a town with a dark history, masked by its idyllic appearance. But she's never fully believed them until now. Hartley begins her investigation with the neighbors. It's a close-knit community, and in a place like Willow Grove, everyone knows everyone. As she speaks to Lila's friends and acquaintances, she learns that Lila was loved by all. No enemies, no threats. But then Hartley speaks to Lila's neighbor, Henry Crane. Henry Crane is a quiet, solitary figure in the neighborhood. A retired history teacher with an air of aloofness. He keeps to himself, spending most of his days reading in his garden. He's known for being polite but distant, never one to start a conversation unless it's about a historical event or a book he's reading. He's lived next to Lila for years, and though they shared a garden fence, no one ever thought to question their relationship. At first, Henry is cooperative with the investigation, offering a polite, if somewhat evasive, explanation for his recent lack of contact with Lila. She was always busy with her flowers, he says, and I was engrossed in my books. We never had much reason to speak, but I'm sure she was fine. However, there's something in Henry's demeanor that doesn't sit right with Hartley. His calmness, his almost rehearsed answers, and his refusal to acknowledge any real connection till Lila raise a red flag. Something is off, but Hartley can't put her finger on it. As the investigation continues, Hartley learns more about Henry. His house is neat, orderly, too neat. His garden, pristine, with rows of flowers that mirror Lila's own meticulous arrangements. But there's something strange about the back fence. Hartley orders a search of the property and finds something that sends chills down her spine. In Henry's backyard, beneath an old oak tree near the garden shed, there's a trapdoor. It's covered in dirt and leaves, as though it hasn't been disturbed in years. Hartley orders the door to be opened. What's discovered beneath it is more than anyone could have expected. A narrow tunnel, roughly carved but structurally sound, stretches beneath the ground, connecting Henry's house to Lila's. The tunnel is dusty, lined with shelves full of strange objects, photographs, personal trinkets, locks of hair, and most disturbingly, memorabilia from past crimes. There are old newspapers with articles about missing persons cases from decades ago, cases that had never been solved. And there, among the piles of old objects, is a sketchbook. It's Lila's. The book is filled with drawings of flowers, of course, but also of her home, her neighbors, and one sketch that sends a cold shiver through Hartley. It's a picture of Henry's garden, with the path leading to a hidden spot. The page is torn out, but Hartley is sure that this was the last sketch Lila made before she disappeared. The discovery of the tunnel raises more questions than answers. Why would Henry have built a tunnel between their homes? What could his obsession with Lila's garden and the strange collection of items mean? Hartley's team works tirelessly to find the truth. As they search Henry's property for more clues, they discover an underground room beneath the garden shed. It's small, dark, and there's evidence of a struggle: broken flower pots, a torn piece of fabric, and faint traces of blood. It becomes clear that Lila didn't just disappear. She was taken, hidden beneath the surface of the very town that once trusted Henry. Lila's body is found in a shallow grave beneath Henry's prized rose bushes. The roses, which Henry had carefully nurtured for years, were more than just flowers to him. They were a way to conceal his dark secrets. When Hartley finally confronts Henry, he's calm, almost resigned to the outcome. "She was perfect," he says, his voice barely above a whisper. "She didn't even know she was perfect. She was like all the others, just like them. I never meant for it to end like this. But when they trust you, they give you everything. And I couldn't stop myself." Henry's confession is chilling, revealing a pattern of obsession and violence hidden behind his quiet, scholarly demeanor. Over the years, he had been carefully selecting victims. Women like Lila who embodied the kindness and purity he never felt he could possess. They trusted him. They never saw the monster hiding behind his mask of normalcy. As the town reels from the shocking discovery, Hartley reflects on the case. Evil doesn't always wear a villain's mask. Sometimes, it's the quietest among us who harbor the darkest secrets. In the aftermath, Lila's flower shop is turned into a memorial. The community comes together to mourn the loss of the woman who had been their light, their friend, their neighbor. Her legacy lives on in the flowers she planted, in the blooms that will continue to flourish in her absence. The town may never be the same, but the memory of Lila will never fade. And as the camera pulls back from the quiet, empty garden, the eerie sense that something dark still lurks beneath the surface of Willow Grove remains.